Today's movie is Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. And I've been telling you that I'm only here for the gasoline. That Batman Returns is the best Batman movie ever made. And I'm going to say on the final recording that it's the best superhero movie ever made. And that The Last Jedi is a good movie. And it's not just a good movie, that it is profoundly intelligent. It is honoring. It is loving. It is insightful. It is kind. And it is the cornerstone of this podcast. It is the film that got me on this podcast. But let's get back into the wasteland and learn how to live again and talk about Mad Max 2.
Welcome to the Live a Meaningful Story podcast, where we explore connections between the movies we love and the stories we live. We are friends and colleagues with backgrounds in storytelling, filmmaking, teaching, and narrative therapy. Join us on our quest to unlock the power of storytelling for your life. I'm Derek Hatch.
My name is Nick Natal.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joseph Wilson.
I'm Jason Lin.
Let's get off The Last Jedi for just a couple minutes.
Is that possible? Is that possible?
No.
Bro, I texted something, Nick. I swear you probably screenshotted it because you're gonna rub it in my face for the rest of my life.
It's the basis of our friendship.
Listen, the cornerstone thing, right?
Yeah.
This is important. So he was talking about how he was thinking about that cornerstone thing, like that passage where it says that the stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone, right? Do you know what I'm about to say?
Yeah.
And I said, I wrote back and I said, yeah, it's a great verse. It's also a great principle for life. And then I wrote back a minute later. I'm like, wait a minute. The Last Jedi might be my cornerstone. The stone I rejected has now become the foundation for this podcast.
Like, this podcast partially formed because me and Derek were outside in the backyard of Urban Youth. I just was like, hey, I just saw The Last Jedi and it's awesome. And he was like,
this after we watched it
I
together?
hate you. And I was like, what? I was like, let's start a podcast. So really, if it wasn't for that, all of your healings would not really be healed right now.
Aikido, I'll be screwed up right now.
But sincerely, it's really amazing how that has all played out.
Movies have
been a
made
lot of
no
fun.
impact on my life. There's no healing.
You wouldn't have
no positive effects have came from
Jason.
watching
Aikido, you never would have watched any of these movies ever in your life.
No.
Probably not. It would just be Wally and Nacho Libre on repeat for years in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Also, Nancy does like The Last Jedi, and she only watched the first 15 minutes. She says, I can tell if I'll like a movie for the first 15 minutes.
And she could tell.
She was actually thoroughly impressed with The Last Jedi.
That's awesome.
Well,
I
think
let's get off it for a minute.
Yeah, I think The Last Jedi is the last thing I'll say. I was like, bro, this should be your last podcast pick, because then we'll call the episode The Last Episode.
Oh, that would have been sick. Though.
But we're giving an homage to it to start here, because it is really important. It is significant. And I think that if The Last Jedi is something that I've had to come to accept, even if it was by being abused and putting on glasses for 3.5 years.
Sometimes it's the only way.
Then all I'm going to say is that at the retreat, after this podcast is over, Nick's time is coming.
That's okay.
Because BVS is going to be his Last Jedi.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
I haven't worn my headphones once, and I'm about to put them on right now.
I love that movie. Woo, I can't wait.
I heard it louder, Nick. It wasn't good. I could wait a lifetime for this movie.
Well, too bad.
It's happening. All right, Mad Max 2. Why'd you pick this?
Because Joe's been telling me that we're in Mad Max in Florida out here for 5 years.
Yep. That's the first thing I said when I moved out here.
I was Mad Max out here.
I saw quads driving on the street.
Yes.
And I was like, I've never seen Mad Max up to that point. And I'm like, this is Mad Max. I don't know what Mad Max is, but from what I've seen, this is Florida.
Ski mask, no license plate,
At all.
straight up through it. Like the red light has been red for 5 seconds.
And has just run straight through it.
And 12 are going through.
And now it's just normal to me.
Joe had just a sense of the wasteland even before he knew he
but
was in it.
I was like, oh, this is my life now.
Yeah.
And then Joe actually watched it and said, Nick, this is you to a T. You are Mad Max.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to see it. And then I watched it. I was like, oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joe was right.
There's a lot of you in here.
And then I did watch it and I liked it. And how I was viewing it was just a lot of outreach. And Max has this connection with the kid at the end. And then I thought I was moving, and I thought that this was a cool way to go out because at the end, Max kind of just drifts off into the memory.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cold. So
Yeah.
I like that. And then I chose it before I knew whether I was moving or not. I was like, this is the movie no matter what. And then I watched it again after finding out I was staying, and then it was like really revealed for the last film for me what it was for, and it's awesome. So I don't know. What did you guys think of it?
I tried to watch Fury Road and I did not get into it, which I
Really?
know is a very, very controversial opinion. But
I feel a little similar.
yeah,
Really?
I okay, good to know I'm not alone.
This is right up my
I
alley.
really
I
struggled.
like it.
It's just very like spectacle action, but there's just not a lot of character and things that
Oh.
really ground me in it. But I felt differently about this movie. I thought this movie was way stronger in terms of like character, and I thought the action was amazing. It had really great action. You know, keeping in mind that this was also like what 40 years ago.
Yeah.
This movie.
This
And it
movie
looks
is
great.
I
Looks
love
great.
movies
It
like
feels
this.
great. It's fun, but there's also I'm sorry, Mel Gibson's just more compelling than Tom Hardy in a mask where you can't see his face for most of the movie.
And he's
So
just,
Yeah,
I thought this was way better.
yeah.
So I just recently rewatched Fury Road, and I thought it kind of sucked.
Really?
Whoa!
So I the first time
The
I
tide is
watched
turning.
it, it
Yeah.
has. The first time I saw it was in theaters, and it was one of the best theater going experiences of my life.
Yeah.
And especially when they're on the pole vaults. I remember the moment that they drifted into
Yep.
frame where they're pole vaulting back
And
and,
they're back,
forth.
yeah.
And I thought it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Mhm.
But after rewatching this one, I think this one is so much better.
Yeah.
I think Mad Max's story is really weak. I do still like the action. And I don't think Fury Road has a great story necessarily, but I think the action and the overall feel of this movie is like there's a word, I think it's just pure and
Pure is a good word
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
I forget, is it George Miller?
Yeah.
He has a quote that I'll say in a couple minutes that I think just kind of sums up the film. for me.
Yeah.
So
One of my first reactions was in the opening scene where I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is really cool," and I had this thought, and I'd have to go back and watch it to really check. But I was like, I feel like I like the action better in this one.
I do
Yeah.
too.
because
Mhm.
like
I do
It's
too.
real.
I rewatched it and it stuck out so much how much better the action is in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
those cars are like getting destroyed.
Yeah.
They're like
Yeah.
People actually
well,
like were getting injured too during the
I'm,
filming.
you,
of the
I'm
scene.
sure.
Also, Fury
I'm
Road has
sure.
a ton of practical effects too. They're all real cars
But
also.
there's
Yeah.
but
But
there's
it's a different
It's
feel.
Yeah.
it's that point of view shot that's going at 200 miles an hour towards something that's gonna hit, and I'm like, oh whoa, like I feel like I'm in the car about to die,
Yep.
and they do a lot of it, and just the action's so fast, and
Mm-hmm.
in Fury Road it's a lot of, and you just see everything kind of slowly going. It's slowly going fast,
Yeah.
and the action is like Mad Max. It's just destruction derby. Just things are blowing up. It's quick. You're like, oh man, like that guy's dead immediately. They're shooting arrows at each other. It's just, I don't know. It was just,
It's different.
it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
not clean, but like
Realist.
it felt like untouched by
It's pure.
theatrics.
It is just
yeah.
a
I guess pure is a-
yeah. Just quickly, George Miller, before you go, Derek, he says this quote. He says, "For me, the most universal language and the purest syntax of cinema is the action movies."
Mm.
And then he says, what Miller wanted to do was make a silent movie with sound.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I
I
can
thought-
see that.
I thought,
Uh-huh.
I thought there's no mask to this movie.
Mhm.
There's nothing getting in the way of what he wants to do. You're immediately connected to it and you just go for the ride. So for me,
Yeah.
sincerely for me, I think this is just like Texas Chainsaw is the purest horror movie for me.
Yeah.
This is the purest,
action movie.
greatest
I-
action
I-
movie
I
I think I've
agree.
I
ever
can see
seen.
that. Yeah.
I agree. It's
You know,
pure.
You know, it's funny. I've been playing a lot of. You'll know this, Joe. I've been playing a lot of Fallout
Mm-hmm.
this whole month, which is all post-apocalyptic. You can make your guy look exactly like Max.
Mhm.
I've been playing a lot of it, and I was like, this is the time for it. But no, I just thought it was fun. I like the guy with the snakes.
Yeah.
Oh, they usually don't get past the snakes. I have to go back and feed my snakes.
And then they got back, and it's like, where is this man getting all these snakes from?
He's just dropping it on the guy from above in his helicopter.
It's the desert.
He's just out there.
Yeah.
Coming out the sand.
This movie had some great levity to it. The Mohawk guy having to be put on a leash is amazing.
They have great characters.
So many.
It's unique.
The boomerang.
Yeah, the boomerang kid. No, because
Joe, when did you first see this movie?
That is his name.
So I watched this movie, I think, last year. So my first experience with Mad Max was Fury Road. I didn't watch it in theaters. I watched it, I think, like when we were first starting this podcast. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. Because again, all the action, all this is practical effect. This movie is so dope. Then I was like, oh, I kind of want to watch the other movies. So I heard Fury Road was the better one. So I watched that one instead of the first one. And I was like, actually, this one is actually really good as well because, like you guys said, it's the practical effects. You guys know I love my practical effects movies. This feels like a world that is lived in even more than Book of Eli. I would have loved if Book of Eli was more like filmed like this movie and practical effects with this movie. That would have been to a T Chef's Kiss type of movie.
Oh, you're abandoning Snyder.
That's why for me this is a little bit elevated because of how well it's executed. Like this is top of the line filmmaking.
But so with Snyder, I love his mythology type of film stuff. I love that because that's cool in certain settings. However, with a Book of Eli type of character, he needed to be like in this type of filming and just the way it's shot and stuff like that. So I love that. Love this movie. And like I said, I texted Nick and I was like, "This movie's you, bro." I was like,
I needed this one.
Yeah, I was like, "You're Max,
sick.
bro." But it is such a beautiful thing, and I have a whole list of things.
Awesome. Well, before we get to that list,
underline
Nick, let's do the letterbox real quick. So we're gonna do letterbox for this, and then remember, stick around after the analysis of the film, where we're gonna talk about Nick's whole podcast journey in light of it coming to an end for all of us here. So this is Nick's final pick, and we're gonna do his stats and kind of like an overall analysis of it. So, all right, here we go.
When all that's left is one last chance, pray that he's still out there. Max Rakintowski returns as the heroic leader who drives the dusty roads of a post-apocalyptic Australian outback in an unending search for gasoline. Arrayed against him and the other scraggly defendants of a fuel depot encampment are the bizarre warriors commanded by the charismatic Lord Humongous, a violent leader whose scruples are as barren as the surrounding landscape.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty
So
hard.
good.
That's pretty hard.
I'm gonna say his last name.
I didn't even know he had a last name.
Max Rakitansky.
Rakitansky, thanks for the book.
Rakitansky.
All right, Nick, where do you want to go with this?
We can start out with a little bit of context because I thought this was really cool.
A little bit of Derek.
Yeah, a little bit of Derek.
Bring a little bit of
Little bit
me in there.
of
Let's
Derek.
go.
That's part of my final stats, I guess.
A little bit of Derek.
So George Miller was actually an ER doctor before he was a filmmaker.
I did not know that.
And so he was constantly surrounded by car accident victims.
Mm.
And so one of the things that he's quoted by saying, he says, from the first Mad Max, I was obsessed with safety. Having been a doctor who worked in the emergency, I saw a lot. In Australia, we had big, long roads and speed. We did not have airbags and safety belts. By the time I was out of my teens, I'd lost 2 friends to car accidents. On the other hand, I just love action movies.
That's funny.
Amazing.
You know, my thought is always that like this is just present day Australia. Like it's not post-apocalyptic. It's just happening right now. This is just how it is. They're like fighting for gasoline, but every other country is just like fine.
What are you guys doing over there?
We need the gasoline.
Yeah. There's another cool thing. A lot of the staff are ambulance drivers, truck drivers, and the extras are mostly biker gang members.
Yep.
Who were real Australian gang members called the Vigilantes.
That's
So
awesome.
shout out.
And they were paid with beer.
Yeah. Shout out to the Weekly Planet, but I learned that from them too. I was like, a lot of these people, like even there is a truck driver that's driving the main truck, and when it flips over, that's not a stunt double. that's just a guy they pulled and was just like, hey,
probably-
you drive this truck, and he got injured, and they used him for the next movie as well. It's just like, it's so funny of the behind the
He's
scenes.
probably
That's a
like
cool
tipsy
story.
too.
Yeah.
He's probably drunk.
just like,
Oi, I'm fine.
That's
so
sick.
Put me back in the truck.
Amazing name, by the
Oh,
way.
yeah.
Amazing name, Lord Humongous.
And I guess just one last thing of context. The opening montage was only put in there because nobody knew about Mad Max in America because it's Australian.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody knew about the first one, even though it was big in Australia. So he put in the whole montage to summarize the first movie. And
Which I thought was great because I
Help
haven't
me
seen the
out,
first
yeah.
movie.
you don't need to. So
Yeah.
it's,
really
it's
does,
everything.
and I think I heard that too. I was like, that's why I'll just watch the second one, because I heard it
Mhm.
was the better one, and you don't really need to watch the first
It
one.
Yeah.
was just called The Road Warrior. It wasn't called Mad Max 2. And then just for
okay.
America, they had to put it all in. I think, like, simply what's cool about Max is, one, he has only 16 lines.
Really?
That's it. He speaks 16 times and that's it.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So I think what George Miller was trying to portray is, and he talks about it in his interviews and stuff, is just this singular hero, like, that is action oriented. Like, he is a figure that just takes action. He doesn't speak. He doesn't talk. He just pushes forward into the scene.
Mm.
And I thought that was part of my journey, coming through all of kind of confusion, analysis, questions, to just this ending of moving forward
Mhm.
without talk. You're
Mhm.
just now entering into the action.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Moving from talk to action.
Yeah. Moving
Yeah.
from talk to action.
That's
Moving
cool.
out of theory and into the real world. And,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and basically, he has to rejoin community instead of
Veering off.
surviving on his own.
It's
Yeah.
the inverse of Eli.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's
So-
funny because I put that in mine as well under Nick. But it was like, Max isn't technically like even the main character of his own story, but he is just a driving force. And then just like when he's like, just save it, I'm here for the gasoline, I just want the gasoline, we had an arrangement. It's like it's
filled my contract.
yeah, I
Mhm.
fulfilled my contract. I did what I need to do.
Mhm.
And even with it, like, even when he did what he needed to do, like, he wasn't rewarded. He was hurt by it as well, even hurt by the community, and
Right.
but still chose to come back and help. And even after he tried to leave. But I do think it's funny, he still left, and he had to be sent back. He didn't
Yeah.
choose to go back. He had to be sent back.
Yeah, so a major theme here is that no man is an island.
Mm.
Mm.
Like, he's something happened to him that pushed him outside of community,
Mm-hmm.
and he's trying to survive on his own
Yeah.
with just
Mhm.
resources.
Mhm.
Like, whatever he can grab that he can survive with for the next day,
Yeah.
he's living off that apart from connecting to people around him.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so when he jumps back into community, he does his job and leaves.
Yeah.
What I noticed most this time was he almost kills himself.
Yeah.
His car flips, his car blows up. He's about to die, and then
yep.
he saved
Mhm,
it.
mhm.
He
Yeah.
gets saved
His
at the
dog
end.
dies.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
comes
it's
back.
his
He
dog.
comes back into community, and he says, "Max, you're back." He goes, "I didn't have a choice."
Yeah.
he said, "Trust me, I don't have a choice."
And I think that's what I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is Nick.
Yup.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
And I think I texted in the
Dang.
group chat, either the group chat or you separately. I was like, the conversation he was having with the leader, I feel like is a conversation like with
I
God and Nick.
I didn't go back to it. You
But-
have to replay it if you. But I think that idea of, like, we have free will, but if we want the best for our lives, we
Mhm.
don't have a choice. We have to come back. We have to find our place in community because
Yeah.
we can't be
Mhm.
alone.
Yeah. To get a little personal with it, and you can say however much or little on this that you want, but when we started this podcast, we were all four working together. 2022, Why We Love Star Wars, we were all working together. I left, and a year later, you left. And your journey and my journey have both been about, okay, we've had this community for so long, and now we're out in the world trying to make something happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's that been like for you just throughout the podcast journey, and just in terms of like community and kind of being in this place where you're trying to figure out what does that look like now?
Well, I think that's tied to the theme of all my movies.
Mm.
So I think we can get to that
So we'll
later.
wait on that. Okay.
But essentially, it has the last couple years, in some way, my car has flipped over and then it blew up.
Yeah.
And I'm on the rock trying to pick up the gun to save myself, and God steps in, and I didn't have a choice.
I think it's interesting that that this movie and Patterson, which are two very different movies, obviously,
They are.
but they both have dogs in them. And you
Mm.
talked about the symbolism of Marvin in Patterson. Do you feel like Max's dog has a symbolic?
I have
thing
not
here.
thought about any of that other than how cool the dog is.
The dog is cool.
In this case, I've only wanted the dog to be
Yeah.
like Max.
So here's what's interesting, right?
I knew Marvin was deep, but this
Yeah.
one was just like,
I would like
I
this
want that in
dog.
my
Do you
life.
think there's any significance that it's when Max is like bleeding out and close to death that the dog is taken from him
Mm.
in that moment?
Could be. Is it a sense of comfort for him?
So my question that I have for you, because I don't know the whole Mad Max lore, when did he
Neither
get
do
that?
I.
When did he get
Neither-
that dog?
I
I
don't
don't
we
know.
know?
I guess
I'd have to
between
go
movies.
back.
Yeah.
But was the dog in the first movie at all?
don't
Is the
know.
dog from his past?
Phone book.
Look it up. Find it.
What's the dog's name?
I got it right here. Okay, so when after Max lost his family, he took the dog in.
Nice. I took the
Okay.
cabin.
Well, because here's the thing, right? I don't want to jump ahead to your movies or anything, but you have a really weird connection in some of your movies with animals.
What other than Patterson?
The Cat and Llewyn Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
I think
But
there's
I
a
think
sense
but
of
I think it's
innocence.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, because he loses his family, he goes out into the wilderness, and he finds the dog. That's his
the
only
fox and Green
companion.
Knight.
The
Mhm.
fox and Green Knight.
The
yeah.
birds in the poem
Yep.
for Patterson.
Yeah, but that's not
Yeah,
in the
but
movie.
That's not in
No,
the movie.
but
Yeah.
that still came from that for you.
maybe.
It's a half point.
That was.
But
half
but
point,
I
think.
but that's what I think is interesting is all these animals clearly represent something. And I think the dog,
The crystal dogs in The Last Jedi.
Crystal dogs?
Yeah, on the salt planet.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Oh yeah.
that's one of the weird
Penguins?
connections.
Penguins?
Yes.
Oh my
100%
goodness.
penguins.
Wait, okay.
100% the penguins.
This is getting fun.
I think it's interesting that when you say that he has no choice, when he comes back to the community and he's like, "Oh, I don't have a choice."
Mm.
Well, he does have a choice.
Yeah.
But he's making the right choice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it's either joy and a sense of love and belonging or death.
So
Mhm.
he loses the dog, but he makes the right choice. Do you think the dog was? And I'm just speculating here. I have no
Speculation.
idea. But my speculation is maybe the dog is his sense of comfort, of isolation.
Mm.
He lost his family. He finds this dog. He's like, okay, I've got something now.
Mm.
I'm good. I don't need to fight for anything else, right?
Mhm.
He loses that. And because of the type of character he is, he goes to the community and he confronts that which he's been running away from.
Mhm.
Yeah, right,
Yep.
right. It's like the stand-in in a
Mhm.
weird way.
It's you-
It's the justification. It's like
It ma-
almost represents
It's
that
you
isolation.
alone with the cat.
It makes
your
sense,
apartment.
but it makes
Yeah.
sense in this movie. I don't know how much it makes sense as a theme throughout.
No. I'm just, I think for the movie it makes sense, but I just think it's interesting that
I wouldn't even
you have
say it
several
I
movies
got to give up
with,
Nosferatu
with
now.
animals.
Yeah.
Damn.
But I was gonna say I don't even think it is necessary because this is a whole nother mouth that you technically have to feed out in this desert wasteland. In this desert wasteland. You don't need the dog. You would
Yeah,
want a
it's true.
dog because it's a comfort, like Eric was saying.
Mm-hmm.
That dog
Yeah.
wasn't fighting anybody.
Except-
What?
except
Yes,
his
it
Oh
was.
yeah, no, but he was
Yeah.
holding the bone with the what's it
Mhm.
called?
Dude, yeah, the
He was his
shotgun.
partner,
Yeah,
bro. He
sure.
was
Yeah, that was-
holding.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the dog was like, "I'm got
Oh,
my eye
is
on
that
you."
what you talked about in the text thread? Because I was
Yeah.
looking at the Watership Down poster for like a minute trying to find a dog with a shotgun in it.
Oh no, it was when he's in the car.
I was too. Same thing.
I
I was
was
like,
like-
Jason, what are you
I
talking
was
about?
at work. I was like scrolling in as much as I could.
Where did you get
I
Watership
wish I
Down
could've
from?
because
see
it
that.
comes.
Jason
right after
doesn't. I don't
Watership
think
Down.
Jason reads all the texts in
I
our group.
wish I was there to see.
I was like, where
Was
is
it?
this dog? I almost texted it, but I was at work.
I'll look for it again. I didn't
Oh,
see that, but I
man.
was like, no, I was watching the dog with the little bone that was tied to the
The shotgun,
shotgun,
yeah.
and he's just like sitting there watching the guy, and I'm like,
Mhm.
dude, he'll pull that trigger.
And a squirrel runs
He-
by.
Yeah, like, I guess I don't know. The dog is in it with him, and dogs are actually really good for I read some subreddits before about what homeless people say is like really important.
Mm.
And they said if you can find a dog, train him only to listen to you. Like a dog can find food better than you can.
Mhm.
And the dog is like a good companion. He won't leave you. Like it's good to have a dog if you're on the street. Also, really cool thing in a movie that speed and like being able to travel long distances is like ideal. That's why gasoline is so valued.
Yeah.
He has a dog that is bred for running
Yeah.
long distances at a really high speed
Mm-hmm.
for a long time. Like he's got one of the like I don't know if it's the fastest dog, but he's got a fast dog.
Yeah.
So it fits in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, it's Australian. So I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's like an Australian German Shepherd.
Shepherd,
Like
yeah.
a cattle dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Where else do you want to go, Nick?
All right, so I guess we can kind of jump to the end a little bit, but the theme of all the movies, as I was looking through them, we had a conversation. We were talking about Jason, and you mentioned that
we'd like to talk about Jason.
that Jason was pushing away Howls for a moment,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like this is not part of my collection a little bit. And so I was thinking, what was I pushing away if I was pushing away anything? And I was pushing away Past Lives. That I was like, I didn't really pick this one. Yeah, because I don't know why. I think I was just looking at my list and I was pushing it away. That look, the stone we reject is the cornerstone.
Okay, I feel it.
Maybe that's the movie. And then I remember I scrolled through something online and there was a quote from like a A24 like a script book that they put together, and it says Past Lives is about letting go of past versions of ourselves. And I was like, it came to my head in the shower and I was like, boom. I was like, every single movie is a movie about letting go of something.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens in Mad Max when he's talking to the leader of the community where he's about to leave, he does his job and he goes, okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
Which was also perfect.
Yeah.
I held up my end of the bargain.
Uh-huh. Thanks for the gas, but I just here for the gasoline.
No, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
But when he gets confronted and he says, what happened to you? What burnt you out, mate?
Yep.
He goes, what burnt you out, mate? You lose some family?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, you think you're the only one that suffered? And I was like, oh,
yeah.
I don't want to watch this anymore. And this movie specifically, the last thing to go for me is self-pity. And with things going on in my personal life, I've had some family struggles recently. I've had some family struggles that have kind of stayed with me my whole life. And it's all come to a head in my personal life. And then this was the movie that is just action-focused, stepping into the story, no longer being passive. There's no thought or analysis or therapy.
Yeah.
It's now just movement. The last thing to let go was self-pity and to move in life with this.
That's good.
And as soon as he said it, I knew it. And I thought I was picking this movie for another reason. As soon as he said it, I knew it. So that was a really huge moment for me.
Yeah.
That's what burnt you out, mate. You lose some family? You think you're the only one that suffered? Yep. And then at work, I hear a story of somebody that something just happened to them, and I'm like, everyone is carrying something, and I have to start moving forward while carrying something, and I don't even have to carry it anymore. I don't even feel like I am carrying it anymore.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah, it was
That's
really
so
cool.
good.
The movie's simple, and I think simple
It's
is
very
really good.
straightforward.
This is just right away I can access this movie.
Well, it's simple comparison to everything else you've picked.
Yeah.
Which is
and
interesting.
I think that's the
It's narrowed down to just action.
Yes.
But I think that is like the beautiful thing about the end of your journey. It's no longer just, oh, should I think about this, or oh, how am I feeling about that, or oh, this. But you're moving forward. And it is a cool thing to see that these things that you were struggling with is now something that you're taking on with you, but you are moving with those things. And that's cool, yeah.
And
Moving
I
into
think
action.
the kind of metaphor of a high-speed chase coming head-to-head at 200 miles an hour with the villain is also really cool.
Yeah.
And I think it fits me. It's head-on, you can't move, and it just comes to a full-on, and you have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to take it on. So
I think it's funny
I think Max's journey, like I've left community, I've come back, I've left again, I've gotten hurt, and I've come back. It kind of mirrors a life journey. But I think I've finally went on that head-to-head collision and blew up Lord Humongous. with Artie by my side.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Because that is we'll
Artie.
scratch the name, but that is this little boy from Outreach. He had a phone for a moment, and his picture when he called me. By the way, he's like 8, but his picture when he called me was Max and the feral kid in the in the pickup truck in the 18-wheeler.
That's so
like
great.
like Max is in the back like
I can't
flipping out, and the kid's on the front
windshield.
hood.
Yeah.
He's on the front hood trying to get the bullet. I hope that kid gets a phone and calls me later because I just want to see that picture come up.
We straight up put that kid on a motorbike and just sent him
it's
down
Mad
the road.
Max. Outreach is Mad Max.
Yeah,
It
is Mad Max out here.
This
man.
kid was 6 when we put him on a motor vehicle and just sent him on his own down the street.
He
And I
wrote it
was
better
like,
than both of us.
Mad Max out
speak for
here.
yourself. I was pretty good, but no,
No, I trust Artie more. I trust the little kid more.
that's fair.
That can
No.
throw a boomerang and chop off fakers.
And
Right,
I was like,
feral
Nick,
kid.
we can't do this. And you're like, just shut up.
I think
And sent him. And
when
this kid came, and this kid came around the corner, and was fine. And
Yeah.
we kept doing
as
it.
I said, shut up, he went vroom, vroom, vroom on their thing. Like
Yeah.
he knew exactly what he was doing, and then he just trailed off. But quickly, I think more than the dog, I think the kid has the bigger role in the
Mhm.
story,
Yeah.
teaching Max how to kind of get back into learning how to live again.
How to reconnect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still had the dog when he met the kid, but he
Yeah.
gives the kid the toy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not only that, he plays with the kid first.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then he like teases him, and then he gives the kid the toy, and then the kid comes along with him,
Mhm.
and he helps him take down Lord Humongous.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I think that is another parallel for me for sure.
I was going to say it's interesting that both of our movies have a movie where we're mentoring something or
And passing
yeah,
something
someone
down.
at this point. But but with yours, it's such a chaotic thing, but I think that works best for you.
That's
It
me,
is
dude. I don't know what to
beautiful.
tell you.
It's so funny. And I think with the dog, it's more of something that he was trying to have as a substitute for what he lost. And
Yes.
actually having a companion, and then with the child, it's actually a real connection that he
Mm.
has, and that he's teaching like this kid really.
I wonder, it's just because he had the dog when the kid arrived.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering more than a substitute that it was a bridge.
Mm.
That the dog was just the bridge to get him to the next step.
To
Yeah.
care
And
about
then
something.
the dog left while he was already
He didn't need
he
that
didn't
bridge
need the dog
yeah.
anymore.
Because at first
He
he was
had it right
rejecting
in
the
front of
kid. He was like, "You can't come with me, dude."
Well, no,
Yeah.
he didn't. I
Well, when
don't
he
think
was trying,
rejected
no,
him.
when he was trying to come in the car. Well, it was more like I know where I'm going, and where I'm going, you shouldn't be
Mm.
there. So it's just like, go
Kinda
ahead,
like
get out of
Eli.
here, kid. Yeah,
Mhm.
because it's still a care. It's not like we don't care about it.
Yeah. The original reason I picked this was because at the end that little kid becomes the leader
Yeah,
of
I
the
was
tribe.
thinking about that.
Mhm.
He's the one telling the story, which also
Yeah.
reminded me of 300.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was it was a. I thought it was way cooler because it was like a reveal.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's telling us he's the narrator.
Yeah. So I
thought
thought,
it was cool.
you know, if anything happens, whatever happens to my life, if I played out the story like Max and the kids that we've been engaged with for so
Mhm.
long grow up to lead the community,
Mm.
then I've played the role. I've played the
Mhm.
archetype,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you know that would be fulfilling enough.
He put
So
me
that's
on that
just
motorcycle
just
that
a
day.
cherry on the top for the film.
Yeah.
For me.
Make the road warrior.
The road warrior, the
The road
outreach
warrior.
warrior.
The outreach warrior. Let's
For
go.
real, dude. That's,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Should have just
Straight
came
road.
with an all leather outfit and a sawed off shotgun out.
They would have.
And
I'm
a
sure they
dog.
would have loved it too. Can we
And
play
a
with a
dog.
shotgun? Yeah. Can we touch the
Oh,
shotgun?
man.
Can we get the dog to attack blah 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 down the street?
So good.
Yeah.
Anything else on Mad Max before we transition to your final stats and analysis?
Who's the copter guy for you?
Joe.
That's right.
Just out here with the snakes
Joe's the guy in
Stomping
the-
snakes on people.
coming out the dirt.
Start
All
off-
right now, all right.
Start
all
off
right.
rocky, but then we're the tag team in
Yep.
the wasteland.
Nice.
Amazing.
So hold on now, hold on. All right,
And
don't
then
be
Joe-
crafty.
Joe plays the caregiver and rescues me,
Yep.
and I'm on my back flying through the
The
desert.
jet- mhm.
Yep.
With trying to get out of the camp with a
I
snow
left
bunny.
the community, and you came with the helicopter.
Yep. And even funny enough, he was trying to leave the community at first too, but the girl kept them.
It's cool. He has a line that I caught the second time. He goes, because Max is trying to leave. He goes, Max. He goes,
We're
you're
partners.
You're no coward.
Yeah.
Dumb maybe, but you're no coward.
Yeah.
You're stupid, but no coward.
Yeah, it is.
That's funny.
That's
I
good.
like Max. Max is a cool archetype for me.
Mm.
Literally the archetypes in the title.
What
The warrior.
I don't consider myself a super warrior archetype, but more of
No,
Max's
but-
personality.
No, but you know how to like all archetypes. It's what you need to take from
Yeah.
that archetype and
Yeah.
leverage, right? And the warrior is into action,
yeah.
Mm.
and so that seems like where you're heading in
Yeah.
life. So that's cool. We'll get right back to the podcast in just a moment, but first, this podcast is dedicated to unlocking the power of storytelling for your life. And if you've ever wondered what that looks like for you, then I've got something exciting to share. I had the opportunity to write a chapter for the just released book, The Unleashed Entrepreneur. It's a collection of stories, wisdom, and insights from entrepreneurs all over the country. And in my chapter, I share the power of storytelling and what that's meant for my life. And as people read my story, my hope is that they will begin to think of their lives as a story and what the power of storytelling looks like for them and how they want to communicate their story and live their story in the most meaningful way possible. And so if that sounds interesting to you, then check out the link in the bio. The book is available on Amazon. It's available on Barnes & Noble. You can get the ebook version. You can get a paperback version. And additionally, if you want to immerse yourself more in the world of storytelling, then check out allthingsnarrative.com. Sign up for our email list to get 5 tips for improving your storytelling. And we will stay in touch and let you know about upcoming events, workshops, coaching, and other things that we've got going on that you might be interested in. So check out allthingsnarrative.com. Check out The Unleashed Entrepreneur with the chapter on the power of storytelling. And without further ado, let's get back to the conversation. So, you guys ready for Nick's stats?
Stats.
So,
Is
Nick,
Nick ready for Nick's stats?
I've
Yeah,
known my
he's-
stats for 3 years.
yeah,
Got-
he's this
He's aware
this
of
is
himself.
not really gonna. This is probably not gonna shock Nick.
Uh,
like none of what he's saying.
I'm gonna do
I don't know what I'm
questions
gonna
on
say.
myself.
Nick's
um,
making sure you got
so-
it right.
Yeah. So
He's got his list.
there's 18 movies that fall under what Nick is picking here for stats. So the Live a Meaningful Story rebranded episodes include Stranger Than Paradise, Past Lives, Bicycle Thieves, After Sun, The Green Knight, The Holdovers, Batman Returns, Do the Right Thing, Cinema Paradiso, Patterson, Wishmaster, and Mad Max: The Road Warrior. In addition, you also picked for your Why We Loves, your Western was Dead Man, your horror was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, your slice of life was Inside Llewyn Davis, and then we're throwing these 3 just
Five-star
for
classics.
fun: Tenet, Up, and Last Jedi.
Yeah, Tenet.
Well, Tenet and Up are for fun, but Last Jedi's got to be in there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Tenet.
Is Up your only animated movie?
Yes.
I think, right? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I'm surprised you have
And
one.
it's
I don't know.
and it was on a Disney episode, so
Mhm.
it was
Yeah,
forced
he
to
had
pick.
to.
Held at
Yeah.
gunpoint.
Held at gunpoint, picked animation.
Seriously.
I don't know if you picked like a live action one.
Yeah, Pirates of the
Yeah.
Caribbean.
Yeah. So Up and Tenet might be debatable. They're on here for fun.
They're fun.
Okay,
Well, Up fits the theme. I don't know how Tenet necessarily does.
We'll
but Up
find-
fits it.
we'll find out.
And the protagonist.
Okay.
I actually do
Oh,
think
okay.
Tenet
I'm the
fits the theme.
protagonist.
I think it
Yeah.
fits it on a meta level.
It's the
Okay.
action.
But anyways,
Yeah.
It does fit it. Okay, so genres. Your only action title is Mad Max. I'm
Huh.
so choosing that right at the end, getting that in
Tenet?
there.
Or Tenet is
Isn't,
it?
I think that's sci-fi, right?
I would put Tenet closer.
Sci-fi action.
We talked about it on the sci-fi episode, and I do think it falls under sci-fi. But what do you think, Nick? Where would you put it? Where would you personally put it when you think about it?
It's so heady. I think it's sci-fi.
Yeah. The action doesn't lead it like it does in Mad Max.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a sci-fi element.
But
Yeah,
that
Mad,
is-
Mad
that-
Max is about the action.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Tenet is
Tenet
about
is
the
your
theory.
only. It is your only sci-fi that you picked, and that is on a Why We Love
Wow.
Science Fiction episode. So that's interesting.
And
Gotta
then
hit him with a
gunpoint.
Nick. Wow.
For crime films, you picked 0.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
Wow.
Did it pick a crime?
Wait,
Nope.
I did pick it.
No,
'cause,
there-
You didn't pick
There's
the
no-
Italian crime?
There are no
Nick's
pure
li-
crime films on here.
I think
Nick's list.
Letterbox.
Nick's like, you're wrong.
Wait, no. I think Letterbox put one of them in crime.
It might have, but
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't consider
We-
any of
we
these.
got to do the
By the
Letterboxd
conventional
genre.
definition of crime films, I don't think any of these fall into it.
Keep going.
Fantasy, you have 2. You've got The Green Knight and The Last Jedi.
Green Knight's good.
What are you doing Batman Returns as?
I got it under superhero, but that could also be fantasy as well. Definitely.
Superhero is its own genre? Or
I'm putting it as its own genre, yeah. But Batman Returns could be fantasy. You can put it in either one of those. Horror, you've got 2. You've got Wishmaster
Only
and Texas
2.
Chainsaw. I know, I'm surprised only 2.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the themes that you've laid out were horror-based necessarily.
No, you mean like the themes each month?
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't really a lot of
True.
space for horror.
My schlock pick is horror.
Yeah.
True.
You could have done horror for your villain, though.
Yeah, but Batman. Yeah, it's true.
But
no, Batman. Yeah.
Batman had to be there.
Batman's important.
Romance, you did choose a romance. You chose Past Lives.
Oh.
And well, what'd you categorize Patterson?
I put it as slice of life drama over romance because the romance is secondary to the story of Patterson and what he's going through. Satire, you chose 0.
Jedi.
kind of
Yeah.
is. Slice of life drama, you chose
7.
9.
9.
I said 7 as a joke.
9 slice of life dramas. Stranger Than Paradise, Bicycle Thieves, After Sun, Holdovers, Do the Right Thing, Cinema Paradiso, Patterson, Inside Llewyn Davis, and Up.
Wow, look at this man over here loving real life.
Right?
9
Don't you love it?
dramas. Is anyone surprised by that, though?
No.
It's kind of just like, that's a lot of movies, though. It's more that than anything.
Yes.
Nick, how do you feel about it?
I'm thinking. I'm thinking.
Superhero / fantasy.
Doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good.
You've been wanting
But I like my
entire
movies. But I
time,
like
yeah.
my movies. I look at my list of movies and I like them. So
It's a good list.
but not a little. You're unbalanced.
That's okay.
You failed.
You're I have an interesting thing I just thought of. Keep
So superhero / fantasy, again, Batman Returns would fall into that. No war films. And your one token Western was Dead Man.
Dead Man.
Fantasy.
Any thoughts on the genres before I go
What genre was your submission to New York?
Huh?
When you did the
It
submission
was
to
a
the film school?
documentary.
Hmm?
It was a documentary.
No, the script that you wrote.
Slice of
Slice
life.
of life drama.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew the answer.
He just wants you to get there.
Like,
All right,
that's kinda
decades.
interesting.
Decades.
That's what you
the-
wrote.
All right, Decades. The oldest film that you chose is from 1948, and that is Bicycle Thieves.
Is that the oldest one for this podcast?
No,
Really?
I hold that title. Thank you very much.
Mr. Smith.
The latest, the newest film that you chose.
I
hold that title. Thank you very much.
Well,
Funny because I was gonna say
I'm the one.
it's funny because I was gonna say I'm so much smarter than you guys, but Derek just said it indirectly.
The newest title that you picked was from 2023, and that's both The Holdovers and Past Lives.
Okay.
Holdovers.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're all good.
Now,
Yeah.
here is one of the most shocking
much smarter
stats
than you
that
guys.
I have no
Unbalanced.
idea how Nick is going to react to this.
Give it to me.
What do you guys think Nick's most Don't no peeking. Now
not
you
peeking.
can't. Jason can't answer now. He
Bested
peeked.
by a girl with a lightsaber.
What is Nick's most popular decade?
Oh, I think I know.
The 80s.
Yeah.
That's what I would have thought
Yeah.
too.
Oh, it's not.
But it's not.
Really?
The 2020s.
Really?
Wow. How?
The
I
2020.
only have
That's
3.
2020s, you have Holdovers, After Sun, Tenet, Past Lives, and Green Knight. That's 5 films from the 2020s.
Damn.
Hey, that's
I would love to know what you think of that. As someone who thinks cinema is in a weird state this decade.
Apparently not, Big Bob.
One of them youngins.
Past Lives, Holdovers, Inside Llewyn Davis. What was the other one?
No. So Green Knight,
Whack.
what? What?
Yeah, Green Knight is.
It's
gone-
2021?
Yeah, but it's gone way down.
Okay,
I'm
really?
not a
Green
fan of
Knight-
that movie.
Green
Really?
Knight,
Yeah,
Green Knight, Past Lives,
fantastic,
After Sun,
fantastic,
Holdovers,
fantastic.
and wait, what am I blanking on?
Tenet?
Tenet. Thank you.
No. Well, After Sun's the best movie of the 2020 so far, I think.
Mm.
Tenet, I didn't really even want it on the list. And The Green Knight, not a fan.
That's crazy.
So how did your opinion change? I know you've told me, but how did your opinion on the Green Knight change from that episode?
I don't think the director, one, had a handle of the story. I remember watching the behind the scenes on the DVD and his editing.
Mm-hmm.
He had to play with editing a lot because he didn't have the right shots, and I think the movie's a little confusing because of it. And it's looked at as like art house, but I think it's just weak storytelling. I also think he throws in every ideology into the movie and doesn't pick one. So I think he's just playing for the crowd. I don't think it's a really like holy film necessarily.
Yeah.
But I think there's still a lot to it that's good. I just don't think it's that great of a movie anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a, what's the 80s?
So 80s, you're close on the 80s because you got Mad Max 2. You've got Stranger Than Paradise. You've got Do the Right Thing. And you've got Cinema Paradiso.
That's 4. 5,
That's 4.
4.
Yeah.
And then the 90s.
90s, you've got Dead Man, Batman Returns.
Batman Returns is 89.
No, Batman Returns is
92.
92. You've got Dead Man, you've got Batman Returns, and you've got, I think that is it for the, Wishmaster. So you got 3 for the 90s.
Make
And then
your wish.
Patterson, Inside Llewyn
I love
Davis,
Mhm.
Up.
Mhm.
Who's
Up is, no, those are different
I'll never
decades.
forget the
Up is
beginning of that
2009.
movie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The skeleton coming
Yeah,
out of the
under the
hand.
skin. That's what I need.
Listen, I'm not proud of my answer either. So when you get
Really?
to mine, you make fun of me too.
Whatever.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Mine is a whatever also for
Well, I'm
decades.
glad that you enjoy life, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like you're trying to escape life, but,
But-
you just keep watching more of it.
Yeah. That's the pattern.
All right,
That's the
letterbox.
question.
That's the question. Letterbox themes. There's 3 that really stick out that I noticed. You have 9 films that are centered around what Letterbox calls moving relationships. 3 of them are romantic, so Past Lives, Patterson, and Batman Returns. The other 6 are centered around father-kid / mentor, like that type of dynamic. And that's Bicycle Thieves, After Sun, Holdovers, Cinema Paradiso, Up, and Do the Right Thing.
Wow, that's a lot.
6 films about mentoring and parenting.
Mm.
In the nano genres, I have
Yeah,
4 films in the top 4, and one is Cry Kids. Adventure.
That sums it up too. Yeah.
Yep.
It goes funny, quirky, then gorgeous, dream, then Cry Kids, Adventure.
Yep.
Nice.
Amazing. You have 5 films about heroism and the hero's journey,
Mm.
the hero's archetype in a way.
Nice.
So you've got Batman Returns, Mad Max 2, Tenet was on there, which I thought was interesting,
Mm.
The Last Jedi, and The Green Knight. And you have 4 films that are considered by Letterboxd to be surrealist. Stranger Than Paradise, Green Knight, Patterson, and Dead Man.
Mm.
And there might be
All
more.
Jim Jarmusch.
There might be more that you would add to that, but oh yeah, and that's another thing. Nick is the only one of us here who has 3 films by the same director on here.
Really?
Yes, some of us have 2, but
Mhm.
he's got 3, which are all Jim Jarmusch with Stranger Than Paradise,
Nick won that. one.
Patterson, and Dead Man.
Favorite
Okay.
Director.
Nick also has the most DEI picks out of all of us.
What's that?
He's got the most
Diversity,
diverse.
inclusion.
Yes, he's
Oh.
got the most diverse kinds of
That's what I'm
filmmakers.
getting rid of.
He's the only one of us who picked a woman filmmaker.
No, actually, that's wrong because American Psycho is a woman.
Oh, yeah,
filmmaker.
that's
I
true.
always
My bad. Jason
I
did
always
pick-
forget that.
That's
Mary,
true.
Karen.
My bad.
Karen.
Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Um,
And she's named after a bird.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I have 2. I have 2 women filmmakers.
You have 2 women filmmakers.
I know what I'm about. So,
You've got
I know what I'm about.
you've got a black filmmaker. You've got
You got a black filmmaker, huh?
I got 2 foreign filmmakers.
Yeah.
you got 2 foreign filmmakers with subtitles.
Real
you know.
diverse, Nick.
Because I'm searching everywhere I go. But it's the same
Lit-
story, just like in Stranger Than Paradise.
Yeah.
Listen. For me, my DEI sucks. I'm just gonna
Oh,
just be
Derek, you're
honest about
canceled.
that right now.
Derek is canceled.
I have the least diverse set of filmmakers in terms of what's on the surface.
That's funny.
Okay, so Letting Go, we've established that is like the common theme in all your movies. And I 100%, when you said that, I was like, yep. So my question for you is what you shared with Mad Max, letting go of self-pity. When you look at these other films on your list, what do these different characters let go of? Because I do not think it is the same thing for all of them. And I think that's what's fascinating. They're like, it's like a collage or a puzzle.
Yeah. Well, I can start with anyone. The Holdovers. I was thinking about that one, and phone book, give me the Paul Giamatti's name.
Wow. The last podcast, you're failing.
Oh, I can't remember the one
I'll
character's name
I'll
from
give
all
it-
the 400 we've
It's
watched.
Paul.
That's your
job.
name.
It's Paul.
It's Paul.
It's Paul.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right, Paul.
That's the only job you have.
Well, I guess that kind of whatever. But Paul has to let go of the institution. He has to let go of Bart. It's called Barton, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He has to let go of Barton.
Martin, man.
Paul in the Holdovers has to let go of the institution. He's bound by that. And I feel like I've worked at a job for a long time, but I don't feel like I belong to that institution in an unhealthy way. And I've left the church in a way where it's no longer unhealthy. So those two institutions I've been separated from.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Green Knight, he has to let go of the belt, which is really just security as you enter into the world. I think a lot of ways the institution was that, a lot of ways friends are that, a lot of the ways my just time is that. So I think over the course of this podcast, that has been let go. I feel like these decisions weren't like consciously made in a way. It's just come to the end of this journey, and I'm like, whoa, these have all kind of been let go as we've walked it.
Yeah.
Max's self-pity. Batman Returns has to let go of his mask, which is really trying to earn love through heroism, which Ministry was a lot of that. I think Sophie has to let go of her I don't know if Sophie has to let go of something. She's still seeking, but
Let go of probably her image.
Her image, that's what I was going to. Her image of her father.
So her idea of her father.
Wow.
Oof, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore. Shoot.
You're doing great.
Yeah. What is Last Jedi?
Hold on, I'm not there yet.
The Last Jedi is that's the twist. It's my letting go.
I'm destroying too much. The Last Jedi is me destroying too much. After Son, Sophie has to let go of her father.
Yeah.
We don't quite know what Willie has to let go of, but I think it has to do with culture in a way. Past lives, she has to let go of culture. She has to let go of her. She's struggling as she enters into a relationship with an American man in America, and she has to let go of a lot of her ties to Korea.
Yeah.
Dead Man is another one where he has to let go of culture. He lets go of his suit. By the end of it, he's a completely different person. Patterson has to let go of... I'm not sure exactly if I can pinpoint that one. So what me and Derek actually were talking about is in all of my movies, the characters make a choice to let go. They don't let go, or the world kind of forces them to let go. So in Jim Jarmusch's world, Patterson, Stranger Than Paradise, and Dead Man, the world's actually moving them towards letting go.
Yes.
So Willie flies home without really, it's a mistake. Dead Man, Johnny Depp's being guided almost.
He's just floating down the river.
Yeah. He's been guided on this journey by nobody.
Yeah.
Which is poetic in itself.
Yeah.
And then Patterson loses the journal from the dog. So those things, that's what's cool about Jarmusch, is that there's a system that's pushing them towards transcendence.
Maybe for Patterson, it's a letting go of not seeing like self-importance, because
it might be letting go of his time, or like his it's almost maybe like a worldview. Like his worldview is blocking him from entering into reality.
Yeah.
And I think he lets go of his worldview at the end. Then Do the Right Thing is a tragedy because nobody lets go. Everyone fights. Cinema Paradiso is a tragedy because he doesn't let go of film. Inside Llewyn Davis is a both and, because I think he does let go at the end of his feelings towards music.
Yeah.
He lets go of grief and his emotions, and he kind of lets go of his partner, I think, at the end, and he lets go of maybe what Toto in Cinema Paradiso doesn't let go is this dream of being an artist. Up, the main guy has to let go of his wife.
Yeah.
It's grief.
Yeah.
And Bicycle Thief, Wishmaster and Texas Chainsaw is just plain terror.
Yeah.
Bicycle Thieves, nobody has to let go necessarily, but I put Bicycle Thieves at the end of my list. So all my movies are ordered somewhat, and Bicycle Thieves is the last movie on my list, and I ended up buying it like last week.
Nice.
Oh, really?
Because what's happening in my personal life with my father, it's almost in a way where in the movie Bicycle Thieves, he's trying to provide for his family, and he steals a bicycle, and then he gets shamed by society for getting caught and stealing a bicycle. And it's the moment where his son looks up at his father and sees the loss of innocence. It's the moment he loses his innocence and he sees his father as a broken man.
Yeah.
And his son takes the hand of his father, and it ends with them holding hands walking down the street, and his father's crying.
Yeah.
Because he's a broken man. His son sees it, and it's really just a movie about compassion.
Wow.
And so I think that is the last film, as I let go of everything, from just a spiritual perspective, to take a compassionate look at people, especially my father and within my family.
Yeah, that's deep.
That came out of nowhere, Bicycle Thieves. And then The Last Jedi is Kylo tearing down everything as a revolutionary, but not using the creator or working with Luke to form whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how to word it, but it's just Kylo tearing down too much.
Yeah, no, that's it. And what about Tenet?
I wonder The Last Jedi is my American Psycho.
Really?
Oh, how
Because,
so?
well, because American Psycho, or your filmography is all about a passive character and someone coming in to have that character rejoin. And American Psycho, there's no space for it.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite. All my characters are about letting go, and The Last Jedi is the main character is destroying everything. So it's just the inverse.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
And I think that's
it's funny because
except Tenet, I don't.
No, okay, I got Tenet. You ready?
Hold on a minute. Kylo is telling Rey to let go of her past.
Yeah, but
like it's letting go of too much.
Yeah.
You're saying.
So Kylo is so close to being right. Like, he's so close. He has the truth, or he's speaking some truth, but it's going over the line.
Yeah.
Because he's telling her to let go of everything about the Jedis and the rebellion and her people and everything about her history and story. He's not telling her to let go of the ties that she has to it. He's telling her to destroy it all.
Yeah.
But Luke takes those and transforms them, where Kylo's just saying it's all garbage.
Yeah.
So it's close. That's why Kylo's a great villain to me, because it's so close.
Tenet.
Yeah, Tenet.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
It's what you texted me when I was watching Tenet, trying to make sense of it. Do you remember what you texted me? It was the first time you ever told me this.
It's Nolan just having fun.
No, you told me something. You said, just let go.
Oh, that's what's up. That's awesome. Yes, that works perfectly. The lady literally in the movie just says, don't think about it too hard. Let go.
And that's
Try
what
not to
you
think
told
about it.
me when I was texting you how frustrated I was watching it.
That is so cool. Tenet fits.
That's letting go.
So it's you telling me, telling us to let go.
It's my projection.
Yeah.
Yo.
And that's even funny that Mad Max is your last movie too. It's so simple. It's just
That is so cool. I love God so much.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's funny because you pushed that movie but didn't want to own it at all, and I've always been like, no,
I didn't want to own. Yeah, I didn't want to own the 3 movies I didn't want to own. Really, were Past Lives, Last Jedi, and Tenet.
And those
and
I'm
always
about to buy every one.
UHD. Tenet was one of the most fun movies I've watched, and it was like, Nick, you don't want to own up to this movie.
Well, because
you
it's
showed
not
me this.
an actual. Like, I know it's not a great movie, but I think
Tenet sucks.
But
it really does.
But it has a spirit and a quality similar to the Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah,
that it's like nothing that Nolan has done that has value.
Yeah,
and it can stand up. It's just like the last 30 minutes or so are brutal because it's just so hard to understand.
Yeah. Good.
It just
So
doesn't
good.
suck. It's just I know it's not that great.
So one of the things I told Nick as well a while back is like, I think Nick is an interesting glue, because for those of you who don't know in the audience, when we did the very first episode, Nick wasn't on it. It was me, Jason, and Joe talking about Batman. But then Nick comes in.
Yep. God knew what y'all needed.
Yeah.
And Nick, God
Batman
knew
Returns.
that we were incomplete and we needed one more thing.
Yeah.
And so when the conversation came of you possibly moving, I was like, okay, then this podcast can't continue,
Die.
right?
Well, that's the thing. We were ending this podcast because the idea was we were moving.
Yeah.
Right. But
Or
then
I was moving.
we felt it was fitting anyways. We
Yep.
felt that this journey was culminating in something.
Yep.
One of the things that I think I've realized about Nick's picks, and I kind of throw this out as a challenge to see if Nick can figure it out, and Joe and Jason, you guys say if you agree with this or not. We established in Jason's episode that his overarching kind of thing that we see there is that confinement, exploration, liberation, right?
Mm.
That kind of journey of moving through those things.
There's community in it too, right?
Yeah, but not as heavy as Joe.
Not as heavy as me.
No,
I'm the community man.
I think you're
Yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
not as heavy as you for real.
Oh, that was mean.
It's like
was.
it's like what Nick said. The passive character,
But it's liberation through community.
yes,
It's not community like banding together to move forward.
Right.
together.
Yeah.
Right.
But community is involved, but it's for the purpose of liberation.
and Joe's is very much about community becoming family through trauma, right?
Mhm.
And mine,
Hashtag trauma
Nick
bond.
already knows mine. I don't want to reveal it yet, but Nick knows what mine is. So I kind of want to see Nick, like, where in your films do you most see Joe and his themes? Where do you most see Jason and his themes? And where do you most see me and my themes?
I didn't think about this enough. Well, Mad Max for Joe. Cinema Paradiso for you, Derek.
Not I didn't think about this, but immediately.
What?
Fires two different names. You say
Well, no, those two are the
Yeah.
obvious ones.
I think for Joe, is it also fair to say Do the Right Thing for Joe too?
Well, I wasn't ready yet.
Why? Because he's
I-
black.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that what it was too?
No, no,
Yeah, he's trying to get
No.
his DEI in.
Yes. I gotta get it in somehow.
Sorry, Derek, you can't.
No,
you
but-
got
but
canceled
serious-
again.
but seriously-
relationally, learning how to communicate and talk and yes.
Well, not only because of the community thing for Joe, because it is a story about a community that undergoes some trauma, right? But also, your back and forth on the Do the Right Thing episode is, I think, going to go down as one of a peak moment for the podcast as a whole, where you guys were able to have that conversation about Mookie throwing the trash can. So, anyways, that's
I agree.
Yeah, that's something I saw there. But anyways,
I see Wishmaster with Joe too.
Yeah.
Batman Returns with you, Derek.
yeah, definitely,
Star
100%.
Revenge of the Sith with you. Not Revenge of the Sith. Last Jedi.
Last Jedi, yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah,
yes.
That's definite. You know it's not,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I know.
You know it's
there.
not, unfortunately.
You said
Lied
what?
to you
Cinema Paradiso,
forever.
Batman Returns, Last Jedi. Yeah, all three. I'll take
And then
them.
Max,
And what,
Do the Right Thing and Wishmaster
Wishmaster
with
for
Joe.
me.
and what do you see for Jason?
Jason.
No, not
That's not
true.
true.
Jason.
I see Jason.
I
That's
see-
the hardest one.
No, I see the holdovers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, totally.
I see Patterson a little bit. Maybe just in the energy.
Mm-hmm.
I
think-
see Dead Man a little bit.
I was gonna say, I think Jim Jarmusch's structure in general for like Stranger Than Paradise, Dead Man, I
Yeah.
think that all fits for Jason really
Yeah.
well.
I still need to see that.
I think, yeah, just the idea that there's a force moving for liberation. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That's even if the characters are passive, that's going to get you there.
Mm-hmm.
See, Jason, he can see you. So
So
shut
for
up.
I'm right here.
So now for Joe, Jason, and me, let's go through some of these here. So what is your favorite film, just in general, your favorite film that
Everybody better say it.
Nick picked?
Every single film.
one for each one.
Okay, here, let me go through them.
It's past lives for you.
Yeah, it would be Past Lives. It's so beautiful, and
Mhm.
Which is it's funny you didn't pick one romance and you picked a
But-
romance out of mine.
yeah,
That's cool. That's amazing.
Well, it is interesting because in a way I do relate to this because there was a relationship I was in before coming to Florida and I had to stop it because of 516 and then we tried it again, but had to let go because I was starting a whole different journey. Like
Yeah.
the journey no longer was with that person. So
That's good.
I see that and I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Jason, how about you?
Well, there's 2 honorable mentions before my answer. So, because I have to say, Past Lives
Wow.
and Stranger Than Paradise have been like on my mind a lot just when I live. I go all these different places and it's just the same. I remember went to, was it Colorado? I went to Colorado in the snowy mountains and had the worst altitude sickness I felt I felt like I was gonna die. And it was beautiful and it was amazing. And the stark white, the animals I didn't know, the new birds. And I'm like, you know what? I could live somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I came back to Florida and I was like, never mind. It's great here.
I can't.
But just like, there was this, no matter where I went, the feeling like Atlanta, Georgia, wherever, it was just like, I don't feel any different. Things around me I see, but it's just like, it almost doesn't even matter somehow. And it was weird. And so those I've carried with me. All that, the past lives, I've had a recent past lives situation. But all that to say, big build up, Holdovers is my favorite movie.
Oh.
Yeah, that was like
that's a good one.
My second.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love that movie. And the trailer for Holdovers is criminal. It's so bad.
It is really bad.
You look at it and you're like, I showed it to Casey and Michelle and they're like, I don't want to see this movie. And
really?
I was so upset. I'd never seen the trailer before and I wanted to show them and they showed all the great moments out of context and it just was like, I wouldn't want to see this. I'm like, I'm really mad.
You should just play it on the screen.
But yeah, Holdovers for me.
So mine is not going to come as a surprise to Nick. Sorry, it's not Last Jedi. Mine will not come to a surprise.
It's Tenet, isn't it?
No, I don't know. I don't know, actually.
Mine is Cinema Paradiso.
Oh, okay.
I think it's one of the greatest films ever made. I think everything that Nick felt and communicated on that episode could apply to me as well. Like I'm in that. I'm a lot of very similar.
This is for the
struggle.
movie, not the episode.
No, I know, but I'm just saying as a movie.
A movie, Jason.
Chill, bro. Coming after me.
I'm just
as a movie, the themes really hit with me. And when I talk about my stats, you'll see why. But it really hits me hard. I think it's one of the greatest films. Like probably gotta be like a top 10 best films ever made. Like trying to be objective. So, all right. Next question is films that you don't own in Nick's collection that you would most want to own on DVD, Blu-ray, or 4K.
All right.
Or VHS.
Or VHS.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Or crappy DVD.
So 4K DVD, I would do Holdovers, Do the Right Thing, and I want that as like
in order.
Oh, in order? Okay. Holdovers. See, I need this one. I got used to the faces. Past Lives and Do the Right Thing. I would get The Green Knight as Blu-ray just because of the visuals, but I would only probably put that in if it was just background. VHS, it would be Wishmaster, Paradiso, and
Paradiso would be a sick VHS.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah. And Mad Max.
VHS Mad Max?
VHS
What?
Mad Max.
I
Yeah.
didn't even think.
And then
that's super Mad Maxy.
It
I
is.
was thinking 4K, but
No,
I bet
VHS.
I bet at one of the places we go for the retreat, they'll have a VHS of Mad Max. They got to. Jason, what about you?
But I would,
Nick, go ahead.
I would still keep Texas Chainsaw Massacre and as like a broke down DVD.
I can give you the actual DVD. I just want the sleeve to put my 4-year-old birthday party in. But I have the VHS. I can give you the VHS.
I'm down with that.
What an odd thing to say.
All right, Jason, go ahead.
For me, it's either The Holdovers or Batman Returns. I would want Batman Returns on demand.
On demand?
On demand as in like in physical form. Whenever I want to throw it in, I could throw it in there.
Yeah.
I've really appreciated that ability. I just put stuff in my PS4 and
just
Batman Returns needs to be like at the ready. Or Holdovers. I like them both a lot.
Yeah.
So for me, I do own Cinema Paradiso and Bicycle Thieves already. So those I'm not going to count. The one that I don't own that I I would have a hard time having this on my shelf, but at the same time, I think
know
I
it.
would need to own it. What is it, Nick?
After Sun.
It was After Sun.
Mhm.
Every
Which,
time
by the way,
I go into Barnes and Noble, I hold the After Sun in my hand and contemplate buying it.
It's
and
like
I
the
put it
Green
back.
Goblin mask.
I don't think I could buy it myself, but if someone bought it for me, it would go on the shelf.
I
gotta
think
It
be-
is so painful.
I think
we know what we're
one
doing.
of the most interesting characters in this filmography, and I may even put it as the most interesting character, is Callum.
Mhm.
And we know nothing about him.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't know a thing about him.
That's
And he stands out to me so much.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. That's why I think that movie, one of the reasons that movie is so powerful.
Yeah.
every time I think of him spitting in the mirror.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. After Sun would be my first. Holdovers would probably be a runner up to that. But yeah, After Sun is almost my favorite episode. It is so close to being, it is easily my second favorite of the episodes. But my favorite, and this is my last question for us, is your favorite episode of the podcast. After Sun is so close. It is just barely there. I think it's one of the best episodes we've done. But there is one episode I think is slightly, I like a little more. And that's because it represents the hardest turn I've ever had in a movie, maybe in my entire life.
Okay.
And that's Batman Returns.
Really?
That episode was so fun. I think
That's
it's one of
cool.
our funnest.
Yeah.
But I also think that Nick's analysis of Batman Returns is like a Hall of Famer, like
Yeah.
Mhm.
all-time best analysis of a movie I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
And this is someone who teaches storytelling professionally for a living. And I think what you did with
That's
Batman
not for that
Returns,
one.
how you unlocked that film, and even the promo video, that's another bonus question, is what's your favorite promo video that Nick made?
Oh, that is a good question.
But Batman Returns as an episode is hands down like my favorite, just because I'm just like in awe of
Yeah.
what you did there, Nick. So hardest turn when I first met Nick, that movie was rated at 1.5 stars on my letterbox.
Really?
And now it's 4 stars.
That's crazy. Oh yeah, we gotta go
Hold
for
on,
that one.
hold on. First of all, thank you.
Is this your acceptance speech?
I just like to thank the Academy.
If it weren't for Derek, Jason, and Joe, this would never be possible. So thank you to everybody.
That's what we're here for.
Cheers.
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Cheers for it.
All right, favorite episode, and then we'll do favorite promo. Favorite episode of Nick's.
Do the right thing.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the ones I definitely really felt connected to, just
Mhm.
because it gets to speak something outside of myself, and there's not really a lot of platforms that I'm able to speak about, like the Black community and how I feel about
Mhm.
things that go on and stuff like that. So it was really good to be able to express that from my side and how I viewed it as Black Christian man.
Mhm.
You know, so yeah, I would say do the right thing.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Jason?
For me, it's got to be Cinema Paradiso, just with the effect and revelations it's had with you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
and your
that was a
story and your life,
contender.
and the separating of the church and the theater,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and just even breaking out of this movie is me.
Mhm.
This my life is a movie, and this one, like, just that I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just watching that.
Nick, what was your favorite conversation on your films?
I don't think I communicated well on a lot of these. So if I were to go back and actually listen to myself, I'm not a fan of the Batman episode. I like the video I made. I'm not a fan of the Cinema Paradiso, but I like the video that I made. So just from a communication way, I don't like those. I liked Patterson. I think I did well on that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I also liked Inside Llewyn Davis. I think I did well on that one.
Mm-hmm. That was you and Tori
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
head to head.
I can't remember a lot of them. I think just from how I presented myself, I think Patterson.
Yeah.
Okay.
But from a revelation standpoint, Paradiso is intense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Paradiso is probably the biggest one.
So Nick, promos. Before I ask my last question for Nick,
Hands
so
down,
what's-
American Psycho. My favorite promo.
Really?
Really, and
It was just so good.
it is really good. What's yours, Joe?
I would say the last one you made, the tribute one.
The
with
Cinema
America-
Paradiso.
Oh crap.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was beautiful.
Yeah.
I think only because deeply connects to us. Like it's a direct connection to us. That was like, I went home immediately after hanging out with you guys after you showed up. I was like, babe, look what Nick made.
Yeah.
From her
I did
sleep.
the same
I'm
thing
like,
with
babe,
Tori.
Look at
Mine might have to change. I
No,
forgot about that.
keep it psycho. I hope it's different for everyone because mine's not either of those two.
So I would have said Paradiso as well.
It ties for me.
Yeah, it's good.
Paradiso. I think we all agree Paradiso is probably the peak of it.
Yeah.
So I'll say a different one. I love the Inglourious Bastards one because
It's good.
I was so
That was good.
shocked when I saw it. It was like a huge step up in the promos.
Yeah.
It was shocking to see my face at the end, but it was bold, but it encapsulated the theme so well.
Yeah.
And I felt like Inglourious Bastards is our longest episode we've ever done.
Really?
So Nick had to dig.
It's the longest episode?
That's what
I have Derek's voicemail when he called me after he saw it, and the voicemail on the phone writes it all out. And
Yeah, what I said in the voicemail.
Derek was so pumped.
Yeah, rock on, love you, man. That was good. That was worth the wait.
Let me see.
Bastards is my favorite too, though.
Okay.
It's
I think
you
it's,
went
it's-
through our longest episode and pulled out everything that mattered and put it in that promo.
But it was wild because everything that we talked about had a scene, and you like weaved it so perfectly. It was a really good one.
I think its structure is my favorite. Its ending is my favorite, and I think the ending really set it apart for me. It's perfect to me.
and all these promos are on YouTube, so check them out.
Or
I'll-
else.
I'll have a link to the YouTube here.
Yeah, go check them out.
They
And
are-
so,
they are
final
really good
question
guys.
for
Yeah.
Nick. Final question for Nick, and then we'll be done here. So, Nick, before you were on this podcast, what would you have said are your top 4 favorite films of all time? And now that it's over, what's your new Letterboxd top 4?
What's your new Letterboxd?
Before it started, Strange in the Paradise was always really number one.
Okay.
That's never going to be moved. Do the Right Thing was up there. Really, when I look back at how film started for me, it was Strange in the Paradise and Do the Right Thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I don't think I had 2 more. I don't think I could even get to a point to say a favorite.
Okay, so those would have probably been the 2.
Yeah, I think it really just had 2.
Mm-hmm. And now, what would you say?
So then, right now, what's in there is, I think, just a representation of me. When you asked if you went to a desert island, what would you watch over and over and over again? I was looking at them and wondering, and I think I probably would take these. So the first is Strange in the Paradise because it's just number one. Then it would be any horror comedy, but right now it's Wishmaster.
Mm-hmm.
And that could go to
Amazing.
that could go to Nightmare on Elm Street 4,
Yeah.
Evil Dead, The Fly, any horror comedy.
Evil Dead is a good recommendation.
But-
yeah.
I think Wishmaster's the closest one to me
Mhm.
Okay.
and my childhood
Yeah.
and my young horror watching self.
Yeah.
Then Batman Returns had Do the Right Thing in here, but I think I would rather just watch Batman Returns.
Mm.
I love Catwoman and Penguin. I think they're my favorite villains. They're
Yeah.
just my
Yeah.
favorite villains,
Yeah.
hands down. And I think they're all complex characters. They're not
Yeah.
just fun. I think
Mhm.
there's a lot of depth. And then if I'm on a desert island, I
Mhm.
think Patterson would be a good watch.
Yeah.
I think I could watch that on a desert island.
Really? Okay.
I think it's relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
It's,
it is
agree.
very
It's
relaxing.
peaceful. I would forget that I'm about to die. Um,
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah.
So those 4 are my top 4.
I love it. Nick, any final thoughts on your journey?
Oh man, this was so much fun.
Mhm.
This was really cool. And I personally feel free.
Mhm.
And it's been a long time, but I think so many things have helped me to get there. So many things before this podcast, but this 3 years was kind of like the final push,
Mhm.
the final level of discipleship to where so many hooks fell off. And they fell off without me realizing, just as we were walking together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I'm excited for what's next. I'm excited that this is over in the sense that we've completed something.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm excited for what's next. So
Yeah.
thank you, Derek. Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Nick. And tune in next week for the final episode, the final pick, which will be mine. And What do you want to end on?
I'm not holding on.
Thank you for listening to the Live a Meaningful Story podcast, produced by All Things Narrative. If you'd like to learn more about our coaching, workshops, events, please check out allthingsnarrative.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at All Things Narrative. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and tune in next time as we continue exploring the stories we love and the stories we live. Take care.